We've heard that time is money, but Rolex certainly puts a price on it. Everyone has seen how magnificent their watches are, but we wonder how they're breathed to life. To make such popular luxury watches, we can only imagine how much work goes into it. So take a trip with us to Switzerland city, Geneva, and see how they're made. Behold the world of Rolex watches. First up, a mysterious vision. A long thought process begins our luxury timepiece journey with a vision. By vision, we mean the creative process. You don't just whip a new design from your pocket now and then, do you? Rolex has a team of creative designers that draws the initial sketches of a new product. They brainstorm it all, from colors to the material to design, to produce a watch worthy of your wrist. Also, one that sells like crazy. But there's an aura of mystery around Rolex. The Swiss timekeepers keep most of its processes very hush-hush. Of course, what successful company would spill their best-selling secrets? It just gives a peek into its watches via its website or a few lucky visitors that grace its manufacturing facilities. We've heard that the Swiss are discreet, but Rolex takes it to another level. However, we've managed to whip up a summary of its watchmaking methods, so keep watching, pun intended. Next, we have the initial prototype. Once one lucky design out of many gets approved, we enter the prototype phase. This phase brings all the creativity to life. Rolex has a micro-mechanics team that makes all of the itty-bitty parts of the timepiece. They're assembled into a watch and lubricated with extreme care. And the lubricant? This private Swiss company has a chemistry department that works 24/7 to produce efficient lubricants. The dedication. Once the prototype is made, all is done, right? Wrong. Next comes an even longer process of testing it. Oh boy, does Rolex test them. It tests their reliability, aging, measurements, corrosion, you name it, the timekeepers have a test for it. And not just a casual wear on your wrist and check way. It has full-fledged labs that have detailed experiments designed to check it all. More on them later. Just imagine an average high-tech Mission Impossible room, something like that. Finally, the performance results are compiled, and if it gets a green light, then we start the real ride. Now, onto the raw materials. Starting from the metal, while most timepiece manufacturers use 316L stainless steel, our particular manufacturer can't have what the regulars have, can they? It uses special grade steel from the 904L steel family. Rolex calls it oyster steel. What's so unique about this steel? We're glad you asked. 904L steel is more rigid and difficult to use, but it's also more resistant to corrosion and rust. What's more, it takes polish and holds it way more quickly than others. Since Rolex is a market leader, it has the money to make this hard steel more compilable. Also, the others can't afford to use it, so that makes oyster steel an unofficial Rolex trademarked material. What's a luxury product without some bling? The Swiss watchmakers use many gemstones and precious metals, but it makes their own gold for the watches. Yes, the company has an in-house foundry that receives raw 24-karat gold. It melts it and turns it into 18-karat gold. There are three types of Rolex golds: the traditional yellow, the modern white, and its unique rose gold that it calls Ever Rose. The fact that it's non-fading makes it more special. Did you know it's the only watch manufacturer globally that makes its own gold? And it's not finished just on gold. It makes its own platinum as well. Rolex uses the 950 alloys mixed with ruthenium. That allows the watches to flash their legendary luster. Then for the watch's bezel. Remember that inner ring at the edges of a watch? That is a bezel. Rolex uses Cerachrom. Again, trademarked, but this time officially. Cerachrom is a type of ceramic that's resistant to scratches, and the UV rays are no match for it. Phew, that ends the raw materials. Up next, labor of love. Now for the watchmaking process, and that is no easy feat. Rolex makes more than 1 million watches every year. Guess they must have a lot of time on their hands. Jokes aside, each watch takes an entire year to complete, and 200 plus pieces make up one watch. See the challenge? Also, what makes the Swiss timekeepers flourish are their traditional methods. You'd think that the mega company would have all the tech to manufacture its watches for it. It does, but all their timepieces are actually hand-assembled. It keeps with the ancient chronometric traditions, and that is why it takes so long to make one watch. And that is why people pay so much for them. And now, the human touch. So once a prototype is approved, an entire team is first trained to assemble that model. Yes, that means every product on Rolex's catalog has its own team of specialized watchmakers. Rolex calls its watchmakers the heart of the company. It's their extreme attention to detail that makes each luxury timepiece a marvel. There are the laboratory watchmakers, manufacturing watchmakers, and after-sales service watchmakers. Each team handles the timepieces with utmost care at their respective steps. Picture a clean, pristine lab lab filled with people in white coat glued to microscopes and other observational equipment. These are the laboratory watchmakers. They thoroughly go through prototypes to check their performance. Based on their observation, the engineers can enhance the technical aspects. Then come the manufacturers. They work in a very old-school way. Their room has high workbenches, which helps the watchmakers come close to the timepieces. Imagine that single-eye glass piece with a chain attached to it. You must have seen it on old jewelers or watchmakers. That is a monocle, a corrective lens. You can find these watchmakers wearing that. With them, the timepieces enjoy prolonged human touch as each part is carefully assembled. The pristine environment and well-lit room improve the work process. Any changes a machine can't make, they take care of that. Even as the watches go through various devices, they keep a close eye on them. Once a watch is made, it heads over to our lab fellows again. They check over and over to see any potential improvement. If your watch ever has an issue, Rolex makes sure they catch it before it ever reaches your eye. That's what makes their quality everlasting. It's meant to pass down from generation to generation. Lastly, the watchmaker brand has a team dedicated to maintenance to ensure quality after sales. Slim chances, but if your watch ever acts up, you can take it to Rolex and this after-sales team will patch it up for you. Thinking of becoming a watchmaker? Rolex does pay well, but becoming a watchmaker requires specific skills. Each person needs patience, dexterity, and analytical and problem-solving skills. Don't worry if you don't have any of that. The Swiss brand takes inexperienced people and trains them extensively. If any margin is left, it improves itself as you gain experience. The only thing you need is a fascination with watch manufacturing. Next, technology meets humans. There's one unique thing about Rolex. Many people that prefer traditional handwork over machines usually disregard machines completely. These timekeepers don't make that mistake. The company accepts the margin of human error and uses all the latest technologies to fill those gaps. In the case of machines' errors, it's placed humans at every step to prevent that. This balance of humans and technology is perhaps the key to its admired products. Rolex's watchmaking machinery is the most sophisticated in the world. Apart from humans, robots are their best friends. Remember those 200-plus mini watch parts? These robots deliver them to the makers from the master supply room. This room is the main hub of the robots. They take trays with necessary parts, store them, and even store the watches once they're done. If any person needs something, all they need to do is place an order on the machine. The specific parts will arrive on a conveyor belt, each in a particular order required by the watchmaker. The complete process will take 5 to 6 minutes. Cool, right? Our robotic friends also align parts and apply the exact pressure required when attaching pins. Once the watch is finished, they give it its initial polish. Later, watchmakers give it a more detailed cleaning, lubricate, assemble, and then recalibrate it. In short, if you have any consistent, highly repetitive tasks, robots are your guys. And finally, endless labs and testing. So, all is done and dusted. A watch is made. Now, let's test them. First, they're tested in the pressure chamber. Once placed, if the pressure reduces, it means air entered the watch and it's not tight enough. Then, there's the waterproof test, where the watch is submerged in water. In the crash test, timepieces are dropped more than 50 times, and they have to survive each one to be labeled durable 50 times. Other tests include temperature variations, wear and tear, shock, magnetic fields, and humidity. See, making a high-end watch is not everyone's cup of tea. All these tests are done in the science lab. Apart from the above-mentioned chemistry lab and foundry, the company also has a manufacturing lab, metallurgy lab, and mechanics lab dedicated to researching each watchmaking aspect. That's how we know what makes Rolex so efficient. So that's a wrap on today's video. Do tell us in the comments if the Rolex watchmaking process mesmerized you. Do you have any more questions? Let us know. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next one.